For rounds 3 and 4 of the fledgling series, teams moved to the Goldfields raceway between Velkom and Oudendaalsrus. BMW, Toyota and Opel were once again at each other's throats and served up some memorable racing. This time it was Johnson Matthey BMW driver Dion Jabeur who took the honours, much to the delight of the BMW camp. Round 4 once again produced close and dramatic racing. With Dion Jabeur spinning out in the BMW, victory again went to Mike Briggs in the Opel Racing Astra. This time around, Briggs was followed home by the Toyotas of Serge Damso and Mike White.
Stanek proudly presents highlights of rounds 5 and 6 of the Stanek Satcar Series from East London. Stanek Satcar, the formula of the future.
The Stanek Satcar Series will be run at racetracks around South Africa. Kyalami, Goldfields Raceway, Killarney, Swartkops, Aldous Krabanti and the East London Grand Prix circuit are all on the schedule. The next stop for the Stanek Satcar Brigade was the historic East London Grand Prix circuit for rounds 5 and 6 of the series. With the opening rounds run in perfect Highfield conditions, the fickle Eastern Cape weather turned its back on the teams in East London. High winds, rain and bitter cold interrupted test sessions and generally made life difficult for teams and drivers. Going into round 5, Mike Briggs led Dion Jabeur in the point standings. Early practice sessions in East London confirmed that there was not much to choose between drivers and cars.
It's just so close. This is what Satcar is going to be like. There's a half a second between the fastest and sort of 5th or 6th quickest. So 2 Opels will be great on the front row of the grid, but talk to me after qualifying.
East London's very bumpy, but surprisingly we didn't have to change too much on the suspension. The car just hops around a lot, but it's actually very controllable. So I've been very happy with the testing. We've been on the pace all the time.
East London also saw a new combatant on the Stanek Satcar battlefield with the debut of the BP Nissan Sentra.
It's a fantastic car to drive. I wouldn't say it's easy, it's very hairy. There's a lot of things to take into account that's new, the slicks, the gear changes, the different handling characteristics, the brakes. But it's exciting and I really can't wait to really get to grips with the car.
Klerksdorp car dealer Farouk Dangor is the only privateer currently taking on the might of the factory-backed teams. After encouraging outings at Kyalami and Goldfields Raceway, matters turned sour for the Speedy Car Sales BMW team in East London.
We've made a few improvements, but today we're just having problems all day long. We damaged a clutch or something has come adrift on the flywheel assembly. So I don't know if we're going to run. We're going to try and see if we can sort it out still.
A new innovation was the introduction of an Indianapolis 500-style qualifying system. AA Motorsport President Dave Clapham explained the procedure to drivers and team managers.
At 4 o'clock, you line the cars up there in the order in which we're going to draw now, with the guy who draws number 1 position at the front. At 4:15, we'll do practice, and the first car will be sent off. He'll do 1 warm-up lap, 2 flying laps, and then he comes in on his 4th lap. He must go straight into Park Ferme, where the rev limiters will be tested and the cars will be weighed. Okay? So the first one to draw, Tony Viana. Number 3. The next one, 101, Dion Jabeur.
Is that Dennis' son?
107, Serge Damso.
Come on, Serge, number... He used to at the 90s, so it must be number 1.
Number 2.
With 1 car out on the circuit at a time and the fastest of 2 laps to count, the new qualifying system sent tensions soaring down the pit lane. Drivers were left with their own thoughts as they waited anxiously for the signal to go out onto the track. Young Grant McCleary in the Opel Racing Astra drew pole position, as it were. Under the new system, there are no second chances for the drivers. You have to get it all right in just 2 laps. McCleary found himself in the unenviable position of having to go out and set a benchmark. It was time to gird the loins and bite the bullet.
got one chance at it, and I got to go out first. I'd rather have been out maybe middle order so I could see what the other guys are doing. But I got to go out there and set the time. But that's the way it goes. I'm going to give it my best. I've got 2 flyers, and that's it.
There was plenty of excitement in the Opel camp, with McCleary setting a blistering pace for second man Serge Damso and the rest of the drivers to match. McCleary's fastest time was in the high 1 minute 28 second bracket. Although the rain was holding off, it was bitterly cold with high winds, and drivers complained that a lone warm-up lap did not give them time to heat their tyres up to full operating temperature. There were anxious faces in the Toyota pits as Damso's progress over his 2 flying laps was carefully monitored. As far as Damso and teammate Mike White were concerned, the new qualifying system had its pros and cons.
Official practice was always good fun to get all together out there. Sometimes you get a tow, and it's interesting. But now you're going there on your own for 2 laps, and if you have a lap that you don't get in properly, you're out.
It's the same for everyone. You just got to do a quick lap straight away. Normally that would suit me because I can go out and do my first lap quickest, but I still think maybe we should still stick to the international way or the British way, because when we race against them, we've got to be in the same boat. We must learn here and do the same here as they do over there.
Veteran Tony Viana was the first of the 2 Johnson-Matthey BMW drivers to tackle qualifying. Despite a series of major surgical operations for cancer, Viana has lost none of his zest for motor racing. The BMW camp was looking relaxed in the pits, but out on the circuit, their driver was letting it all hang out. East London's Grand Prix circuit mixes ultra-quick sections with slow corners and is a major challenge for any driver.
So far, I'm quite happy. It's just we're still battling with a bit of, we haven't got everything here, races and stuff. But I'm quite happy, with what we've got and what we're doing. We are getting better and better every day, so I'm feeling quite confident.
Viana's fastest time over his 2 qualifying laps was to prove to be good enough for 3rd place on the grid. A lot closer to 50 than he is to 40, Viana is a racer's racer. But there are some young lions out there challenging the old guard. One of those young lions is Mike Briggs, who arrived in East London with 3 Stanek Satcar wins in 4 outings under his belt. With Grant McCleary's fastest lap still the time to beat, Briggs was determined to put another Opel Astra on the front row of the grid. The young man from Port Elizabeth is also a supporter of Indy-style qualifying.
I like the idea of only 2 laps. I'm fortunate that that's my style of qualifying. I only like to do 1 or 2 quick laps. So for me personally, it's going to be very good. But I think the most important thing is that we're trying to put on a show here. And this allows us the opportunity to extend qualifying. People get to see a lot more cars. They get to see them individually. I think it's going to take off. I'm looking forward to it.
There was more joy in the Opel Mobile Workshop, with a fastest time from Briggs that pushed McCleary off the provisional pole position by fractions of a second. The only driver who could now upset the Opel apple cart was Nick de Waal in the BP Nissan Sentra. With the drama and tension of qualifying a thing of the past, Mike Briggs foresaw a big future for the new format.
What they set out to achieve, they've certainly achieved. They've made an exciting spectator event really out of plain qualifying. I think everybody really enjoyed it. It was just maybe a couple of the drivers and team managers and their nerves that didn't enjoy it as much. But it was really good. It's, as I say, just the pressure sitting in the pits, waiting to go out there, knowing what the other guys have done. It's bordering on just being murder, but I really enjoyed it.
In pole position, Mike Briggs with the Opel Astra teammate Grant McCleary only fractionally slower in qualifying and sharing the front row of the grid. Veteran Tony Viana put the Johnson-Matthey BMW onto the second row of the grid, ahead of young teammate Dion Jabert, who was 4th fastest in qualifying. Reigning South African rally champion Serge Damso in the dealer team Toyota Sprinter shared the 3rd row of the grid with Minolta Toyota Sprinter teammate Mike White. The Toyota pair were followed by Nick de Waal in the BP Nissan Sentra, alone on the fourth row after the withdrawal of Farouk Dangor. The weather really turned nasty on race day. It was wet, cold, windy and miserable. Out came the rain tyres and technicians were having to work under trying circumstances. More important, teams were having to rethink the race setup on cars.
It depends how much water we're going to have on the track, but the ideal thing is to go softer on the suspension, which is going to make it quite interesting. You know, it's a gamble you're going to take. And the driving style, it's definitely a lot neater driving style. You can't dive into corners and things like that, which I think that's you know, where the experience comes in.
The wetter the conditions, the more survival is going to become out there. You make one mistake or you lock up a brake and that's, and it could spread the field out a lot more, you know. I think for the spectators, and I see a lot of them here today, I think the dry weather, it'll be a better race.
Right, we have the cars out on the warm-up lap for the 5th round of the Stanek Satcar Series. Conditions here at the Grand Prix circuit in East London are atrocious, and I don't envy the drivers one little bit. We'll be able to bring you plenty of race cam action, and from the camera facing backwards from the Mike Briggs Opel Astra, you can see just how bleak it is out there. We also have a race cam facing forwards in the Grant McCleary car. We'll be able to pick up more action from the Dion Joubert BMW. We can already see that the windscreen is starting to mist up, and that's going to be a problem for all the drivers. Race cars don't have luxuries like demisters. We're riding with Mike White, who is behind teammate Serge Damso, and you can see that spray from the cars in front is also going to be a problem once the race gets underway. Nick de Waal has a single wiper covering the whole windscreen of the Nissan Sentra, and he's going to need it. There we have the layout of this famous old circuit. It's just short of 4 kilometers a lap, with most of the corners right-handers. The 5-second board is up, and let's see how quickly the BMWs can get off the line after their problems at Goldfields. But everyone appears to have got away smoothly enough. It's wet and slippery, and getting around 200 kilowatts of power onto the road can't be easy. Race cam action from Dion Joubert's BMW, and Serge Damso in the red Toyota Sprinter has made a demon start as they head for Potter's Pass for the first time. Damso's in trouble. The first corner, and we have our first casualty as Serge Damso goes sliding off into the outfield with smoke and steam pouring from the Toyota. Mike Briggs leads in the Opel Astra. Behind him are the BMWs with Dion Joubert ahead of Tony Viana. Next up is Mike White as they approach Cochabana with the cars sliding all over the place. We have another spinner. It looks like Viana and the BMW, but let's take another look at that first corner incident.
We had a magic start, and by the time we got to Potters, we were about second behind Briggs, and the motor let go and actually spun in my own oil. So unfortunately, that's one of those things. I was worried more about the bank. You know, that's towards the outside of the track. The bank was coming a lot quicker, so I thought, oh well, I'll just have it stopped before then.
A nasty moment for Serge Damso at Potters. We're back at Cochabana with Tony Viana, and he looks to have everything under control until the back of the car just snaps out. Lap 2 with Mike White in 4th place in Cox Corner in the Toyota. It's very slippery in this section, and White has got it sideways. They're slipping and sliding all over the place, but White is back on the circuit. Mike Briggs up the hill towards Beacon Bend and the main straight. We're on lap 4, and Briggs leads from Dion Joubert and Grant McCleary. The BMW is the meat in the Opel sandwich. Mike White is closing rapidly on Nick de Waal, and it looks as though the Nissan is in trouble. The Nissan doesn't sound at all healthy. Mike White going through Beacon very cautiously. He had a big moment a lap or two ago, and Nick de Waal is heading for the pits. What a pity if the Nissan is forced to retire. The team has had all sorts of problems since the car arrived from Britain 10 days ago, and this is the last thing they'll want. Nick certainly looks agitated about something. They've got the bonnet open and mechanics are fiddling with all sorts of wires. That's Nissan Motorsport manager Peter de Waal on the left with technical expert Glyn Hall, and a grim-looking Nick de Waal is out of the car. It's round 5 of the Stanek Satcar Series, and Mike Briggs is out in front in the Opel Astra on lap 7 at a sodden Grand Prix circuit in East London. Conditions are awful as Briggs heads for the sweep. Oh, and the Astra's just gone sliding off the circuit. Would you believe it? Briggs was looking so comfortable out in front. We saw in an earlier race this morning that the sweep is probably the most treacherous part of the circuit. There seems to be a pocket of water that's collected down there, and once you hit that, you're history. Mike Briggs is back in the race, but down to 4th place. We'll keep an eye on Briggs to see if there's any damage to the Opel Astra. He looks to be okay at the moment, but Dion Joubert is the new race leader ahead of Grant McCleary and Mike White. Serge Damso in the Toyota and Nick Duval in the BP Nissan are both out of the race. There doesn't seem to be any noticeable damage to the Briggs Opel Astra, but there are happy faces in the BMW camp as we ride with the new race leader Dion Joubert in the Johnson Matthey BMW. Look at the water sloshing about inside the car and that misted up windscreen. Joubert's peering at the road through a tiny little gap in the condensation. Driving at racing speeds that can't be too comfortable, and he knows just how easy it is to make a mistake in these conditions. Through the sweep for the last time, that's where Mike Briggs came unstuck. All Dion Joubert has to do is keep the car on the road up the back straight and through Beacon Bend. Grant McCleary and the Astra is closing in on Joubert as a back marker in the Stanek Group N field moves over to give them room. Joubert is safely through Beacon, and McCleary won't be able to catch the BMW as the checkered flag comes out. Lights flashing, Dion Joubert comes through to win ahead of Grant McCleary. Stanek Satcar win number 2 for Dion Joubert in the 5th round of the series ahead of Grant McCleary, Mike White and the unfortunate Mike Briggs. We spoke to Dion Joubert, Grant McCleary and Mike Briggs.
Dion, another big moment for you.
Yeah, I didn't really expect to win in the wet. The main problem we had was actually seeing out the window. You know, I sit on the left-hand side. They made a little vent hole, a little small hole I could see out of it. Most of the corners are right, so I can't see that way. And had a big problem seeing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been. I think I was slower because I couldn't see. So the biggest next thing on my wish list is a heated front windscreen. You know, the car gets full of water and then it gets hot and everything evaporates into the front screen.
It's the weirdest race I've ever had, and I think it just became total survival there. We felt our feet a little bit on the first couple of laps, and once we sort of felt what the car was doing, I think we could go quicker and quicker. I think the problem with Dion and I both suffered is that the windows missed it up a lot, you know. And because you're strapped in and you're quite far away from the window, you sit far back, you can't get to the window and actually wipe it, so that became a problem. But the main thing was just to be consistent and not to do any heroics and early braking and be smooth. That was the name of the game.
I was actually hoping I'd catch it going in the right direction and not lose momentum, but unfortunately it eventually came to rest and I was stuck in 5th gear, which made it very difficult to get going again. But we'll be back.
Right, back to the action in round 6 of the Stanek Satcar Series at the Grand Prix circuit in East London. Some grim-looking drivers out there on the grid, but the conditions are much improved from the first heat. Dion Joubert is in pole position after his win in the first heat, with Serge Damso in the Toyota Sprinter and Nick Duval in the BP Nissan missing from the grid. Racecam action from Grant McCleary's Opel Astra as the cars head for Potter's Pass for the first time. Dion Joubert is tucking in behind McCleary, and now we're in with Mike White in the 3rd Minolta Toyota. White has the nose of the Toyota right on Joubert's back bumper as they head for Rifle Corner at around 230 kilometers an hour. They'll be hard on the brakes for the tight right-hander at Cochabana. Dion Joubert is making a move on the outside, but Grant McCleary has the inside line. Mike White is right up there with them. We're back with the racecam action from the McCleary Opel Astra, and look at the fight developing between Mike White and Dion Joubert. They're almost touching as they come down the beach straight towards the S's and Cox Corner. Lap 1 of round 6 of the Stanek Satcar Series, and Grant McCleary in the Opel Astra leads Dion Joubert in the BMW. Mike White is 3rd in the Minolta Toyota. 4th is Mike Briggs in the 2nd Opel, with Tony Viana 5th in the BMW. The circuit has dried out well, but there are still some wet patches about. News from the pits is that Dion Joubert and Mike Briggs have decided on intermediate tyres, with the rest of the field out on racing slicks. Grant McCleary has edged away a little in the Opel Astra, but there's nothing in it as the cars stream down the main straight at the end of lap 1. More race cam action, this time from the Mike Briggs Opel Astra. Briggs is moving up on the inside of Mike White's Toyota. That puts him up to 4th behind teammate McCleary, Dion Jabeur and Tony Viana. These are great pictures from the race cam as we ride with veteran Tony Viana. The cars are approaching Rifle Bend at around 235 kilometers an hour. It's very bumpy on this section of the circuit and the cars hop about. Mike White has gone a little wide and Tony Viana has taken the opportunity to move up into 4th. And Mike Briggs has made a mistake at Cochabana. Briggs left his braking very late and the car just went straight on. Mike White right on Tony Viana's tail as they go into the S's and the Cox Corner complex. It's still very wet in places of this section of the circuit. Round 6 of the Stanek Satcar Series, and Grant McCleary leads from Dion Jabeur, Tony Viana and Mike White. Mike Briggs is back to 5th after his mistake at Cochabana, and that's Briggs almost off again at Cox Corner. That was a close call for Briggs, but he's managed to gather it all together again. Up the hill and into Beacon Bend, and the order is unchanged. McCleary leads from Jabeur, Viana, White and Briggs, who has lost some more ground. McCleary has put 5 or 6 car lengths between himself and Dion Jabeur, but there's nothing in it, with Viana and White closely bunched. Lap 3, and a bird's eye view of the race driver in his office. Race leader Grant McCleary, hard at work in the Opel Astra. Whoa, here's drama. Grant McCleary has lost it in the sweep. The car's thumped into those tyre barriers. Grant McCleary is out of the race. McCleary has crashed in exactly the same place where teammate Briggs went off in round 5. Dion Jabeur comes through to take the lead in the BMW, followed by Tony Viana and Mike White. Grant McCleary's okay and out of the car. That's him sprinting across the track there. McCleary seems to be unhurt, but Opel Racing manager Derek Marks is looking concerned as we take another look at the incident in slow motion. There's a big patch of wet track at the sweep, and the car just gets away from McCleary. He really gave those tyres a wallop.
So I think I went through there a little bit too quickly. I looked in my mirrors as I came out of there, and I got the back wheel on the bit of the wet patch, you know, and just the back end let go, and it just slid off into the mud. Now, the car was fantastic. It's just, you know, I'm on slicks. I think all the others are as well, but you know, I got off the racing line by half a beat, and that was enough, you know. One of those things, but the car was going, you know.
For the second time today, Opels have crashed out of the lead, and a dejected Grant McCleary heads back to the pits. The Johnson Matthey BMWs are now 1st and 2nd. Dion Jabeur is the new race leader, followed by teammate Tony Viana, Mike White and Mike Briggs. Plenty of smiles from the Johnson Matthey BMW camp in the pits, and who can blame them? Their cars are 1st and 2nd out on the track, and another win today looks to be a safe bet at this stage. Having said that, we've already seen today just how easy it is to make a crucial mistake in conditions that are still a little awkward. Now we have an interesting situation. Tony Viana is closing right up on Dion Jabeur. There aren't any team orders, and Tony would love nothing more than to upstage his young teammate. Viana is going for the inside at Cochabana, and the two BMWs are side by side. Tony Viana has gone into the lead. Tony goes into the clinic for more cancer treatment on Monday, and he won't want to throw this one away. 1 lap to go, and Tony Viana has pulled out a big lead on Dion Jabeur. Tony Viana almost home and dry for his first Satcar victory, and what a popular win it'll be. Oh dear, Jabeur has just spun in Cox Corner. Dion Jabeur has spun in Cox Corner, and Mike White has moved up into 2nd place in the Minolta Toyota. With just over a lap to go, the drama continues to unfold here in East London. Tony Viana out in front in the Johnson Matthey BMW. We're riding with Tony as he goes through Cox Corner for the last time. This is where Dion Jabeur spun out on the previous lap. Into the sweep and up the hill towards Beacon Bend, with Grant McCleary's Opel Astra parked on the side of the circuit. One corner to go, and Tony Viana will be on the main straight with a checkered flag waiting for him. Viana goes into Beacon Bend for the last time. Mike White is second in the Toyota, with Dion Jabeur third in the second BMW with lights blazing. There it is, the checkered flag for Tony Viana, and just look at the reaction in the pits. Mike White is second and Dion Jabeur third. Well, certainly a lot of happy faces down in the pits as Tony Viana wins his first Stanek Satcar race and gives BMW a double for the day. A popular win for Tony Viana, who has made such a remarkable comeback from serious illness. A fairy tale win for Tony Viana with Mike White second, Dion Jabeur third, and Mike Briggs a distant fourth. Let's go into the pits and talk to the drivers.
I have to go back to hospital on Monday, and I came down here to try and put the best performance I could, you know, and I think I did it. You know, I've paid off, and now I can go back and rest for a while and be charged up for the next race even higher. So I'm getting better every day with the help of the Lord, and that's all I'm worried about. You know, that's the main thing.
We were lucky. A lot of people fell off. And really, we weren't all that competitive. The car wasn't set right. But we were lucky. You know, we kept it on the road and others fell off.
We won intermediates and they just went off it basically. You know, intermediates are grooved slicks, so there's slightly less like tread on the road, or slightly less contact surface on the road. Tyre goes off quicker. Also, doesn't help the braking very much. But I'm fully chuffed that Tony won. If anybody was going to beat me, I'm glad it was Tony.
We want to win all the races, and obviously you can't in this formula, but as long as there's a couple of the good guys out there winning races, I'm really glad for Tony, my friend, and if I can't win, let it be him.
What a moment for Tony Viana as he gets the winner's laurel wreath from AA Motorsport President Dave Clapham. The weather couldn't dampen the spirits, and there was enough of the traditional champagne to go around for members of the BMW camp to also grab a swig of bubbly.